Round here, them guns get the last word.
So this video will kind of act as a part 2 to a video that I did a little while ago where I was talking about the completed statistics for Tekken 8. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. I'll have it pinned in the top right or in the description. But for this one, I want to take a look at the person who gathered all of that data and see the conclusion that they came to. Once again, shout out to Oblaze for providing all of the data we covered in the past video and also giving us a little breakdown that we'll cover in this video. So it starts off with saying, here are some of my own thoughts and observations on Lydia and Heihachi. Lydia had a pretty good initial position at 19th most popular character. That was slightly above Eddie's 22nd. Lydia has since slipped down to 25th, so that is 6 places down, which is roughly matches where she was in Tekken 7. I think this is to be expected. Lydia was the last DLC character in Tekken 7 and a newcomer, so not a lot changed about her. And unlike what we were made to believe, she wasn't important to the main story of Tekken 8. So it's kind of conflicting, right? We have the other charts where we get from Twitter, where you can see like day 1 of the release, Eddie's number 1, Lydia's number 1, right? Heihachi's number 1. Right now, Clive is number 1. But this chart is kind of looking at it from like not just the first day or the first week, but like the first like duration of their run as a new character. And Lydia and Eddie are very far down. Now, where does it say about Heihachi? It says, now Heihachi, oh boy, I look dumb now. I had been saying for years that there was no way to bring back Heihachi because it would undermine the entire plot of Tekken 7. And they had just about exhausted all ways to revive a dead person already. Well, Bamco still did it, and it worked. Heihachi debuts as the 4th most popular character in Tekken 8. That makes him the most popular DLC release by a massive margin. Lydia was 19th. Not only that, but Heihachi is more popular than Kazuya. I think this has never happened. Kazuya has always been the most popular Mishima. Jin was 2nd, but now Heihachi's 1st. That being said, Heihachi didn't quite reach the peak of Reina's popularity. Well, I guess if you want to talk about Reina, she's a Mishima 2 now, right? She's number 1. With Reina being the 2nd most popular character a month after release. This puts Heihachi in exalted compared to Armor King and Fakuram, also debuting as the 4th most popular characters while being DLC. So this is kind of going back to Tekken 7, right? Tekken 7, we had a few examples of DLC characters being super popular, and the 2 is here, right? Armor King and Fakuram. Now, a lot of people talk about pay-to-win DLC and how it's necessary for a character to be powerful. A lot of people consider Heihachi to be not that powerful. I think he's powerful, but I'm the only one. So that's a character who's just really cool, and he's number 4. Armor King was another character who had no pay to win whatsoever, and he was the 4th most popular character in the game. Out of these 3, according to the entire player base, like everyone agrees that Fakuram out of these 3 is the only pay to win. And that tells me that doing pay to win characters is not really necessary. Clive would probably still be the most played character in the game, even if he wasn't a obnoxious anime god, right? But it is pretty interesting that Heihachi is on that level. When you talk about, just briefly, who shows up in Tekken 8, Fakuram, Bruce, or Josie. Fakuram was one of the most successful DLCs ever, and I think the chances of him returning is pretty likely because of it. But also, if we look at Lydia, who was kind of high in Tekken 7, now in Tekken 8 she's not doing so well. Same thing with Leroy Smith. Maybe that is a trend that shouldn't be followed. I don't know, we'll see what they do, right? Season 2's pretty much here. It says on the other characters, looks like Dragunov, Jin, and Brian are going to be the Paul, Kazuya, and Brian of Tekken 8, as their popularity at the top hasn't changed. Kazuya seemed to have solidified himself in the top 5. I do think it will be interesting to see, because Tekken 7 Dragunov was really popular at the start, but once he got destroyed, he never recovered. And Dragunov's time is coming, right? The developers probably will destroy that character. And will his usage fall, and will we see a repeat of Tekken 7? Or will the character get nerfed and he still maintain his popularity? Or will the character get hit with baby nerfs and the character maintains its popularity, right? The same can be said for Jin and Brian as well, right? But Kazuya, Paul, and Brian being the tops in Tekken 7, it speaks to how many buffs they were given and how strong they were. Paul Phoenix in Tekken 8 is nothing like he was in Tekken 7, and I think that's for the better. Moving on though, talking about Victor, it says Poor Victor just keeps on falling, starting third and now being out of the top 10. I think Victor was really cool design wise, but his gameplay is just atrocious and it doesn't even look that complex. He's just a bully character that you would pick to bully people and be obnoxious. It doesn't seem like, and that's coming from a Yoshimitsu, and it doesn't seem like there's much else to him to really like stick. And I think a lot of people realize that, and that's why he's fallen. Meanwhile, Paul's popularity is slowly increasing, making me wonder if he's going to make it to top 10. Azina is also still falling, and I'm quite surprised to see Yoshimitsu falling, considering that I've seen some Tekken YouTubers talk about how broken he is. So there's a few things to take away in this section as well, right? When you talk about Paul Phoenix slowly increasing, will he make his way back up to the top? I'm pretty sure in season 2 he'll probably get some buffs. We've seen a piece of his new moves in the trailer. How will that affect him and impact him? Because a lot of people like Paul, it's just that he's kind of overshadowed right now. But then Azazina is falling. You can argue this is because the nerfs that she was getting. I think that's a portion of it, but I also just think like word of mouth, right? Azazina really, in my opinion, isn't that weak as everyone says she is. But when you have people just constantly talk trash about a character, it makes the character far worse than if no one said anything. And if they don't do something quick for Azazina, she will quickly fall into that irredeemable section where people will not want her in the next game. I think there's still time for her. On the ranked system, it looks like the vision of Bandai Namco is clear. Unlike Tekken 7, they designed a single rank as the most popular rank and crafted the rank system around that. This is apparent if you look at the Fujin ranks for individual characters. They're by far the largest, and there's always a massive drop off to the next rank. This makes sense if you look at what we know of the rank point system. Fujin is the first rank where you need 50% plus win rate to maintain. So what happens is people get funneled to Fujin from both directions. Those who struggle to get 50% win rate will be pushed from below Fujin, and those who have a very high win rate will be pushed from above down to Fujin. The bottom section, you basically get a pass. Everyone gets a pass all the way up until purple and blue, and then you're stuck in Fujin. But then on the other end, so Fujin is kind of close to the top if you look at all of the ranks spread out. But at the top, we know that's where the monsters are at. And those guys are the ones who pushes you down. Prowess matchmaking also plays a role in this. Someone who promotes beyond Fujin and then demotes end up facing people in the same situation, along with high ranked players on alts. This is what I've just talked about. So they end up matched with people of equal skill, resulting in 50 wins, or people of higher skill resulting in 50% win rate, causing a spiral down towards Fujin. If you're in blue ranks, the prowess matchmaking isn't like the issue. When I was in blue ranks in Tekken 7, if a god of destruction or whatever switched off to a secondary character, they were coming down to blue. That's basically what blue is. Blue is you fight strong people on their second character. Like if you're in blue rank and you switch to a second character, you're going down into the red area. So that's just how blue ranks are, and I don't really think Tekken Pro's matchmaking can fix that. It's just what comes with the territory for being in blue ranks. So it says, when I saw how little the top 10,000 ranks now cover for some characters, i.e. Dragunov leaderboards begins in Raijin, I wonder if there was any point at looking at the stats. At this point, I don't think the leaderboards can be used to make broad sweeping calls about the composition of the entire player base. However, we can still see some trends and spot changes in individual characters. From a statistic standpoint, it's all bad. It's all bad. But when you talk about in like individual players and just the experience overall, it's amazing. Everyone in Tekken 8 is so high, the highest that you ever been, and that is what the developers want to achieve. They don't care about the stats. The stats is something we're not really even supposed to see. You're just supposed to see your rank and how well you're doing and think, oh, I'm so good at this game and I'm having great fun. And that's what the true goal is, and the stats and all that stuff will kind of suffer because of it.